Hey everybody, in today's video I want to make a little review of this instrument here. I've not played this for years. I took it out because I did a review of the case, the gig bag that it was in. That case was a... let me go a little bit closer to you dudes. So I have not played this instrument for years. The only reason why it's out of the case is because I was doing a review of the gig bag and I found this inside. This is a King Valve Trombone that I've used for years. It's actually in a very good condition, although since I didn't take it out of the case for some time, there's some wears here. I don't know if you can see on the video, it's a little bit worn, but the valves are actually surprisingly, they're working. I've not oiled them for at least 4 years and they're working. So the trick here is don't oil your valve. They've never been working so well actually. And I thought, okay, let's do a little review of this trombone, why I chose it, why I chose the Valve Trombone, why this instrument in particular, did I ever play some other trombones before this? And yeah, that's it. If you're new here, my name's Raph, and on this channel, we do some trombone videos. We talk about brass playing, we talk about technique. Usually I talk about the bass trombone or the slide trombone, classical more like. And you know, this gave me the blues to take it out, and I thought I would talk a little bit about the Valve Trombone. The Valve Trombone is an instrument that is not used much and not used enough. And the reason is that there's not a lot of settings where it's actually used. It's a trombone, yeah, it is a trombone. It doesn't really have the sound of a trombone. It has kind of the sound of a trombone that's a little bit asthmatic and that, you know, has a few breathing problems and maybe a stuffed nose. But funny enough, I always loved playing the Valve Trombone. I will link some videos below of me actually playing the Valve Trombone when that was my thing. At some point this was the only instrument that I played. In fact, most of my studies that I've did in the Paris Conservatory was in the jazz department, and it was on this thing here. My first year I was still in a Yamaha, and then I switched to this King. This is a King 2B. This mouthpiece is a Monet Prana TS6. I'll talk about it in another video. I think I will review it. But let's talk a little bit about this piece of equipment. Let's talk about this trombone. Then I'll tell you more about why I went into the to the Valve Trombone. First of all, it is all yellow brass, so the sound is supposed to be quite bright. You know, like if you have a yellow bell, it will be a little bit brighter. Then gold bell will be a little bit darker, and then you have the red bell, of course, which is the darkest one. Brighter than this would be silver, but this is the only one that the shop had, really, so this is what I chose. When was it made? I am not sure. I bought it in 2010, I guess, so 9 years ago. Before that I was on a Yamaha. And a little particularity of this horn is that the tuning slide is actually here at the bottom. So this is how you... I mean, of course you can move this one, which I never actually did. I was only tuning it from here, which makes it actually really practical. You know, you can empty the water here, and you can tune it here. In general, you know, the tuning you have to adapt. You have to adapt the tuning with your chops, because this is not the kind of instrument that will bring you perfectly in tune. There's one other problem with this instrument, is in big bands to blend with the other trombones. It's not that easy to blend into their sound. Throughout the years, I've found a lot of little tricks to, you know, blend in some of the articulations and some of the playing specificities of a slide trombone. But all in all, you know, it is a very particular instrument. Now, what's cool about it is that in Paris, I was able to play in a lot of big bands that were doing Duke Ellington's music, because Duke Ellington's music is written with a third trombone that is supposed to be a valve trombone, especially in that tune, you know, like. You know this one? I forget the name. I'm really bad with names, but I know all of his tunes by heart because I'm a big Duke Ellington fan. Why can't I remember that name? Jesus. I'll link it somewhere. But anyway, you know, at that time, you didn't have an F attachment on trombones. Trombones were just normal tenor trombones, and so that would mean that you had to play 0, 7, 3, do 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 do, ba-da, ba-da, and this B natural over there on the 7th position is just impossible. So if you listen to Duke Ellington's recordings, you will hear Juan Teasel playing it on the valve trombone. And it's played with a valve trombone. So there are some places where it is played. Of course, Bob Brookmeyer plays beautifully the valve trombone. It has been played, but it is quite rare. So why did I choose the valve trombone? Simply for one reason. I was really lazy. I was studying euphonium in England with Stephen Mead at the Royal Northern College of Music, classical music. It was not really classical music, actually. It's more like brass band music, which is a complete other category to classical music. It's very specific brass, especially in the north of England. This is why I went to the north of England, because it is the capital of brass bands. The real brass bands are up there, and in Yorkshire and all those places. And so I went there to study euphonium, and at some point I had kind of enough with playing brass band music all the time, and I was really into jazz. And at that point I was going to New York sometimes to take lessons with Wynton Marsalis, and of course that put me even more into really appreciating jazz and improvised music. And I wanted to go and play this, and I decided to move to Amsterdam, and they said no, we can't accept a euphonium because it's not a jazz instrument, which is true, it doesn't swing. I mean, you know, you can make it swing kind of, but it's not the same, right? So it has this big muffy sound. It's like French horn. I know like some people play the jazz French horn. It just doesn't swing. The tuba does actually really swing. The tuba swings. The French horn, I've never heard a French horn that I'm like, yeah, that swings. It's just because of the quality of the sound. You know, we always talk that intonation depends on the quality of your sound. Well, swing also, the feeling, you know, swing also depends on the quality of the projection of the tone, of the, you know, of the attacks, of so many things. And just the French horn doesn't swing, and the euphonium doesn't either, to be honest. For years I said, no, it does, and I want to do it, and I was fighting to tell people, yeah, the euphonium can swing, but no, it can't really. I mean, it can, but you know what I mean. Anyway, and they said, no, you have to play the trombone, and I didn't play the trombone. And I borrowed the trombone from a friend, and there was all these positions, and I was like, this is just impossible. I've been playing valves since the age of 6. I can play valves. And so I went on the internet, and I just found that, you know, they had these valve trombones, so I got a Yamaha for 700 euros, and I started playing on this, and I got into that school so that I can play jazz, and then I was doing, you know, 8 hours of big band a week because there was not enough trombones, of course. So when you're a trombone player in these kind of institutions, often you do a lot of ensemble, which was great. It was great fun. When I think about it, I have a real nostalgia because it was so cool. It was so immensely cool. And then after 2 years in Amsterdam, I wanted to move to a big city where there was a bigger jazz scene, and I wanted the challenge of Paris. So I went to Paris and I stayed there for 5 years. And then the story continues. It's not so important, but anyway, I went to Paris on this instrument, and I was playing gigs, and I was playing in big bands, and I was in the school there doing improvised music and arrangement, yeah, so you know, this instrument, the Valve Trombone, brings a lot of memories. I've done a lot of things with it. It doesn't smell very good, so that means that my life hygiene was not perfect at the time. But yeah, it doesn't smell so good. I need to do a cleaning of it. I will at some point. I don't really have time right now. But anyway, I just wanted to make a little video and talk a little bit, and I'm not sure if it's so interesting to you. Please leave your comments below. If you've ever played a Valve Trombone, please leave your comments below. If you think that this is a real instrument, please leave your comments below if you think that this doesn't sound like complete crap. Anyway, I will put some links down below of some tracks that I already put on Facebook some time ago playing the Valve Trombone. It's mostly improvised music. And yeah, leave me your comments, put a thumbs up if you've not done so. Please subscribe to this channel, and let me know if there's some other subjects that you would like us to talk about. I've just been thinking, like, recording this video, it's true we never talked about improvisation. This could be something cool to talk about. We've never talked about a few things that we could actually dig into in, you know, the trombone. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.